Can you just tell me like am I audible or not in the chat? Am I audible? Am I audible? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, cool. So are you facing any lag in my streaming, or is that everything fine? Facing lag? Yes. Okay. Cool. Let's wait for 2 more minutes, then we'll start. Okay. Let everyone join the sessions, then we'll get started. So let's get started. Okay. So myself, Vamsi Bhimreddy, currently uh, currently working as an associate software engineer at S. So yeah, I'm an 2021 undergrad passed out from Jeepullareddy Engineering College, Karnool. So that's pretty much about me. Okay. So yeah, coming to me in this particular channel, I will be taking Python. Like, so this channel is dedicated for Python content only, and I will be taking in weekdays, I will be taking a Python, and in weekends I will be taking a DSA using Python. Yes, Sunil, I will be taking Baya DS using Python is good, or a CPP. Yeah, it's your choice. Okay, so yeah, if you are sticking to DSA, either of the things works. But if you are choosing for going for a CP, competitive programming, just be careful. Like yeah, Python has its own benefits, but community is very less. Okay, so prefer based upon what you want. Okay, that's it. And yeah, so on weekends I will be taking a DSA using Python. Okay, where I will be teaching some problem solving, and I will be live coding that and discussing the solutions for that particular problems as well. I will be starting everything from the basic. Okay, so in this particular Python as well, I will be starting right from the basic. You don't need to require any programming prior programming experience though. Okay, to watch these particular sessions. Okay, yes, let's get started on this note. So today we will be covering introduction to the Python and the futures of Python and limitations of Python. Okay, so let's see. Okay, and I will be trying to cover identifiers as well. Let's see. Okay, if time permits, we will cover more as well. Okay, so Python. So first thing, father of Python, like who developed Python? Okay, so Guido van Rossum. So he is the one who started working on Python. Okay, so in 1981, okay, in a national research lab, but Python made public to in 1991. It is available for everyone in 1991. Okay, and Python is considered as an first programming language. Okay, okay, considered as a learn first programming language. So what does it mean? So the intentions were pretty much clear while starting Python. So the intention was it has to be learned without any prior programming knowledge, and it has to be the one-stop solution for every development process. Every development process. When I say like so the only thing he was like while introducing Python was developing Python was yes. So the thing was he taken each and every feature from other programming languages which are available back then. Okay, so the available languages are like, let's say, so if you are if you have a prior coding experience in C, so which is studied in during our college days, called which is an procedural programming language. Okay, C, the feature of it's an procedural programming pattern. And the second one was object oriented programming, which is taken from C++. Why C++? Why not Java? So while developing Python, still Java is not introduced yet. Okay, so if I'm correct, like Java was introduced in late 1995 or 94, I guess. But due to few limitations of Python, Java got over famed. Okay, so that's how Java became famous than Python in that time. Okay, but in 21st century, okay, after 2000, Python, like when this machine learning, artificial intelligence, IoT, computer vision, so these kind of technologies were came exist. Okay, so came to the picture, and that's when developers and the companies uh, decided to have one simpler programming language for everything. Okay, so then they decided Python. Okay, so Python easy to code. Okay, easy to code, easy to learn. And if we compare with other programming languages, Python has required very less number of lines. Okay, so that is the reason why Python Java became so famous than Python, though it was introduced earlier. And so these are two features, and third one was a scripting language. Scripting language, basically, so back then scripting languages were a shell and Perl. So now we have TypeScript and all. Okay, but back then, while Python was introduced, they're all the some of the famous languages for companies coding questions which need to prepare CPP or Python to get about 10 lakhs. See, Sunil, like the companies won't require any specific language until unless you are good, like you are able to solve and code the problems which they have given in the interview. Okay, they won't check, like they won't ask you to write code in C++, write code in Python, write code only in Ruby or like that. Okay, so you will be given a choice. Okay, you can write, you can choose your own, like you can write code on your own language. Okay, so whichever you are comfortable. Okay, and another scripting done, and then modular programming. What does this modular programming means? Okay, uh, let's say we have a one big monolithic system. So what does this monolithic stands for? So a monolithic, let's say, we have an let's take one Zomato application. Okay, Zomato. Okay, so where this particular service of like API or kind of thing, so let's say we have only one guy. Okay, we have one guy who is handling entire Paytm like Zomato work. Okay, so then what is the problem if we have this kind of thing? So let's say if that particular guy stops working, if Zomato stops working, that's very simple, right? If there is only one guy who is working for entire backend services, if that particular thing failed, entire Zomato will collapse. Okay, so like as a company or like any developer don't want that. Okay, so what they will do now, so they will divide that particular monolithic into different services. We can call it them as a microservices nowadays. Microservices. So every company is nowadays become micro following microservices architecture only, because it has its very own advantages. And let's say we can consider this a each microservice as an one particular module. Okay, this one module and this one module. And let's say which is this particular module has been called as a payment. Okay, this guy handles for a payment, and this guy handles all the order related issues, and this guy handles all the restaurant details. Okay, and this guy handles all the let's say generating bills and map services. Hi Anil, hi Rajkumar. Okay, generating maps and all. So what does this mean? So here we have given each responsibility to everyone, like, so we have divided that responsibilities, and now each one guy is particularly handling one responsibility. So here, yes, of course, if this particular payment fails to work, other services will get work as same, okay, as we expected. And it, like, it's not a single point of failure now. Okay, and what is the advantage here as a modular programming? So this entire code base of Python payments has been in one thing. Okay, this particular has been called as a one module. This has been called as another module. This has been called as another module. This has been called as another module. Okay, so the code of that particular module will be has its own code. Like, so let's say we will be coding let's say, and so I will be using few terminologies. Okay, so you don't worry if you don't know those terminologies, we will be learning them in the later off. Okay, let's say here we have from some functions. Okay, let's say we have xyz function named xyz function, and the responsibility of this xyz function is to print the user details. Okay, so like whoever ordering that particular from that particular restaurant. Okay, and in order service as well, we require this particular function, right, to print the user details. So here, without rewriting the entire code, in order system, order service, we will be writing, like, we will be just importing that particular payments module in our order module, and we are utilizing that xyz function to print the details. So here, the what is the thing that we got rid of? So we are maintaining the code in very high scalable manner, and we will be reusing our code again and again. Once we return that code, we don't need to return again. Okay, we can use that code everywhere in our entire project, Zomato project. So that is the biggest advantage of modular programming. And nowadays it has the latest version was a modular 3, I guess. Okay, and this is about Gadawan's maybe intention behind developing this like bragging these all features into Python. Okay, and now let's move on to the next thing. So whenever I met with a few like new learners who are starting their learning journey with the Python, so I often get this question. What is that question? So what can we do with Python? What can we do with Python? So means a develop. Okay, let's say as a developers. So instead of asking this question, you can simply ask me one question, like, what we can't do with Python. It's very simple. Okay. Okay. Telling this thing is hard. Telling this thing is very easy. Why I'm telling this? Okay. Why I'm telling this? Let's say, so I will tell you. Okay, I will come to this, like what we can't do with Python. Let's first finish what we can do with Python. Let's say uh, let's say, so we can develop desktop applications. we can develop desktop application. So what is a desktop applications? So you might be using Zoom, you might be using some IDEs or a VS Code or any PyCharm if you are using, if you are well aware about PyCharm IDE. So it's an IDE which is being developed for to execute and compile Python projects. Okay, and web applications. So you will be having a Django, okay, uh, and Flask kind of frameworks to develop the web applications, and network programming, and to design database systems, to design and develop database systems, and of course machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science. So this is the one of the field that everyone has to look after. Okay, and because nowadays everything like data is everything. Wherever you go you can see data. So if you know how to play with data and how to work with data, then you will be get high paid. Okay, there are some roles which are paying more than SDEs. Okay, so you have to focus upon these roles as well, and as well like IoT. Okay, so I guess you it covers most of the things, but what is the one thing that you are not able to see here? That is Android development, right? Android development. Yes, why can't we develop Android applications using Python? So we can develop, but it's not recommendable, and it's a failed in some cases, because to develop and to run Android applications, it required very high computation speed, like high computation laptops. Or so if you are an Android developer, if any of your friend develops an Android app, just go and ask him, so is that possible to run Android applications in an without graphics card in i3 laptop with 4 GB RAM and all? He will simply say we can't. Okay, the reason was Android development, like Android applications, required high computation speed. Okay, which is a failed in Python. Okay, which is a failed in Python. So basically Python is little bit slow when compared with other programming languages. Yes. Okay, so if you compare with a C++, Java, Python is a little slow. And if you exactly want to know how smaller it like how slower it was, I can give you one small example. Let's say the speed of C and C++ program is X. Let's assume X. Okay, then the same program, if we run in Java, it might take 2x speed. Like here, if it has taken 1 second or 1 millisecond to run this entire program, then in Java the same program will take 2 milliseconds. Okay, the same program will take 2 milliseconds, and the same program will take 4x speed in Python, means a 4 milliseconds. Now it will be in good imaginable speed, right? Now you can imagine how slow Python was. Okay, so that is the reason why competitive programmers don't prefer this Python. Okay, so you guys all know that Python competitive programming requires very high speed and all. Okay, so that is the reason why competitive programmers don't use Python. But there are very few programmers, okay, where they will be using Python for competitive programming. But yeah, so you can optimize the lot code in Python as well. Okay, that comes with lot of practice. Okay, And if you wanted to like so let's say there will be an programming language called PyPy. If you are if you have an experience in programming in any platforms like HackerRank, Code, and this CodeChef and CoreForces, you will be able to see this PyPy, PyPy 2, PyPy 3, along with Python 3 and Python 2 as well. Okay, so the both are same. Python and PyPy was same, and if you like whatever the code you have written in Python, if you just copy paste that in PyPy 3, okay, it will get accepted. Okay, and if you compare the timings of like execution time of both languages like Python and PyPy 3, so if you like PyPy was very less when compared to Python. Okay, so this is one of the optimization technique that competitive programmers use. Okay, so yeah, if you wish to learn like if you wish to do competitive programming with Python, just explore these kind of things. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, and I have said that this particular thing has a limitations of Python. So one is we can't develop Android applications. Another one was there is a less like slow computation speed. Okay, slow computation speed. Done. So just tell me like are you good with till now? Are you with me till now? Are you good till now? Yes. Now let's discuss about futures of Python. Okay, futures. Okay, so till now what we have seen introduction to the Python, and what are all the like how Python has been developed, and what we can do with Python, and what are all the limitations of the Python, and why Python is very slow when compared with other programming languages. Okay, now let's go on and see what are all the futures of Python. So as you know all, the very first feature it would be simple and easy to learn. Simple and easy to learn. Why it's simple? So basically, so like the people who were serving in IT industry for more than 20 or 30 years, they don't like most of them don't like coding in Python, because it doesn't mean that they won't develop products in Python. But yeah, so the reason was it's very like whoever coding in Python doesn't feels like we are coding somewhere. Okay, we are writing code. Okay, so it feels like we are reading or writing some English program, like English language. Okay, so the syntaxes which are present in Python are very simple and easy to memorize. Okay, that is the reason why most of the senior folks don't like Python. But as an like now as our generation likes loves Python coding. Okay, so easy to learn, like since it's doesn't have heavy syntaxes like Java. Okay, Java has very strict syntaxes, you need to follow them all. Okay, Python is very comparatively has very small syntaxes. Okay, so I can give you a small example. Okay, so let's say if you wanted to write a hello world program, like you just wanted to print hello world. Okay, so in if you code this particular thing in Java, it will easily take 7 to 8 lines. Okay, 7 to 8 lines. And if you wanted to do the same in either C or C++, it will take 4 to 5 lines. Okay, but in Python it will take only one line. The legendary programming language, that's why we call it as a legendary. Okay, we'll go and see. Okay, let's execute small program. And coming to IDE, like where I am executing all my codes, this for this this entire course was I will be using PyCharm. Okay, I will be using PyCharm, which is an IDE which is developed only for Python, okay, by JetBrains. So it's very easy to install. Okay, so you don't need to do anything, just go to Chrome, okay, download this PyCharm IDE latest version, community version, and like you will be having given two choices for professional and community. Professional is for the people who are working in some industries, okay, they will buy that license and all. But for a free use you can download community version, okay, and then that's it, you don't need to even install Python separately. Okay, so after downloading that PyCharm, just try to install, okay, start installing. In middle of the configuration, it will ask you to download the latest Python version, which is a 3.9. okay, I have installed this PyCharm ID 3 days before, right? Maybe if you are installing now, it will be same process for you as well. And it will, like, if you click OK, then it will install Python in its own. Okay, then that's it. Okay, so even after installing Python as well, opening everything and setting up everything, so just you will be creating one main. Okay, they will be giving you main file. Okay, just clear that up and start writing this simple line. So hello world. Okay, hello world. So after writing this, you please press on this run. So basically it will be, by default it will be configured for a main. Okay, since I am like here I am seeing demo, but you will be able to see main. Okay, so just click on this particular button and here you can see your output. Okay, so just try to install this particular IDE, okay, which we will be using through entire this course. Okay, so you can see we got hello world output. Is this as simple as that, right? So that's why Python is love. Okay, now the second feature was freeware and open source. Okay, what does this a freeware means? Okay, so freeware means to download and to use, okay, Python, we don't need to pay even single rupee. Okay, so that is the reason like why we are calling it as a freeware. And what does this means? Open source means, so open source means like it will be the code, the source code of Python is entirely open to everyone who like if you wanted to see how this particular function has been implemented, how this particular module has been coded, you can just go to python.org, where by redirecting to its GitHub pages, then you will be able to see the entire programming of Python. Okay, so even if you wish to contribute like a new feature, okay, which you felt yes it has to be implemented in Python, then you can just raise a pull request. Then the maintainers of that particular repo will get review your code, and if it's valid and if you have followed all the like rules and regulations while coding, then they will approve your pull request and everyone can use your particular feature which you have developed. Okay, so that is called open source. And if you are still in a college and have time, so please try to explore open source. Okay, it's really awesome. There are n number of programmings happen for open source, where you can contribute to your favorite products. Okay, and yeah, they are paying as well. Okay, so just try to explore open source opportunities. Okay, still if you are in a college. And a third one, platform independent and portable. What does this platform independent and portable means? So basically, if you write your code once, you can execute that particular code anywhere. anywhere. I mean anywhere means you can run that particular code. Like let's say if you have written Python code in your Windows laptop, you can execute that same code in Mac, Ubuntu, okay, like any other things as well. So the output of that particular program will be same. Okay, so who is going to like so how is it happens? So basically after compiling it will be generating some bytecode and all. Okay, let's say the language which is being understood by computer. Okay, and the so here there comes a picture of a PVM. Okay, Python virtual machine. So the responsibility of this particular guy is to convert your machine code according to your OS. Okay, so that's all about a platform independent and portable means. Okay, and I forgot to tell you, Python is a high level language. High level language. So what does this high level language means? So basically programming languages are being classified into three types. Okay, low, middle and high. So high level languages means the language which is able to understood by human. Okay, human can read, write and all. Okay, that is being called as an high level language. And coming to low level language, this is the language which is not being able to understood by humans, but it is being understood by machines. Machines can understand only this low level language. So you guys all know that what is a low level language. It's a zeros and ones mostly. Okay, so where a machine can understand, like computer can understand only zeros and ones, we are calling it as binary numbers. Okay, and coming to this middle, so this middle language we can say this as an like combination of both low and high. Okay, where human can understand and our computers can interpret as well. Let's say, how many of you have heard this assembly language? And those if you are from electronics background, you might have seen this microprocessors lab and all. Okay, so where we will be saying like add add r1 comma r2. It means like in r2 we will be storing something, and r1 we will be storing something, and after doing r1 like r1 plus r2, again we are storing results back in r1. So and like move, okay, move, sub, mul. So these are all the kind of instructions, okay, which can be understood by CPUs as well as humans. Okay, so they are all called as a middle level language. Okay, and now let's move on to the another features. Dynamically typed. Dynamically typed language. So what does this dynamically typed language? So basically if you have an prior coding experience in any other programming languages, like if you wanted to declare any variable, you will be saying something like this: int a comma b. Okay, int a comma b, and a string s is equal to Vamsi, kind of things, right? You will be doing something like this. And what does this int and string means? So you are saying that a and b can only store integer type of data, s can be stored only string type of data. Okay, so even if you now if you wanted to store s is equal to 10, it will throw an error, right? It will throw an error. So this is called a statically typed language. Statically typed language. Okay, but Python is not a statically typed language. You means you don't need to give like you don't need to mention type explicitly, like what type of data you wanted to store. Okay, so let's say how it gonna happen. So it will be very simple. A is equal to 10, s is equal to Vamsi. So now again my mind has changed. I just wanted to assign a 20 to the s. Okay, now it's valid, it won't throw any error it is valid. Okay, it's valid. Okay, so but this particular feature has its own advantages and disadvantages as well. So basically, so while we are discussing limitations of Python, we have seen Python is very slow while comparing to the other programming languages. So this is the reason, one of the reason, dynamically typed. So basically dynamically typed programming languages are very slow in computation. Okay, means it is always changing in object memory. Okay, and also it's one of the disadvantage, okay, of Python, or it might be the reason for becoming Python slow. Okay, and another one was extensible, sorry, extendable and embedded. What does this mean? So basically, let's say, so everyone knows that uh, Google, Facebook, Instagram, and like every company, most of the days nowadays, every company using Python. But do you agree that, like, do you believe that Google, like whenever Google has been started, okay, so they started coding in Python? Do you believe this particular statement? No, no one knows. Even I don't believe Google has started with Python programming language. But nowadays YouTube has been extensively using Python for everything, be it backend development or for analytics. Okay, so you guys know that you will be getting automatic recommendations based upon your previous watches. Okay, and you will be getting notifications for that. Okay, so it's because of data analytics, like they will be doing a lot of computation background on your search histories and all. Okay, that's how you will be getting recommendations. So do you think that is being possible with C language? No. So they might be using some programming language which might be R or Python. I won't say like they are using this particular language, okay, because it's their choice and no one knows. Okay, no one gonna release like we are using this particular language. Okay, so now they started in, let's assume let's assume Google started with like Google started with C++. Okay, after working for 10 years, let's say in 2010, this Python came into picture and they felt that Python is next programming language that we need to look after, and it's easy to maintain all our services in Python as well. So do you think they started everything converting C++ code into the Python? Do you believe that? No, no. They will leave that C++ code as it is. Okay, like whatever services which I have written so far, they will be staying like watching implementing them C++ only. But whatever they wanted to start from now onwards, they will start with Python. Okay, now how does this Python and C++ will get combined? So Python has its like Python is very friendly. Okay, like it's an party kind of nature. It can go to anywhere. It can go to any house, and it is very open. Okay, very open hearted. It will welcome everyone. Okay, so means outgoing and incoming is a little easy in Python when compared to other programming languages. Okay, you can easily mix Python with other programming languages and other programming languages within Python as well. So that is this extendable and embedded feature. So this is might be the one of the reason why companies are using Python nowadays most. Okay, because it's super friendly and easy to convert to. And the next one will be automatic garbage collection. What does this mean? So basically like if you consider other programming languages like C and C++, which are compiled languages, so the memory which you are assigning for a particular variable, okay, that particular, after using that particular variable, you have to, at the end of the day, you have to remove that space which you have given for that particular variable. Okay, if you don't, it will be like you are not using the memory in an efficient manner. Okay, so the goal of your CPU is to make your memory most of it. That's it. Okay, and this Python, like in C and C++, automatic garbage collection is not supported. Means whatever you have created, you have to delete on your own. Okay, you are not doing that. Your compiler is doing that though in C++, but in Python it's very automatic. Okay, so even compiler or interpreter is not its job. Okay, automatic. This is one of the famous feature when it comes to Python. Okay, now last one, Python is an interpreter language. Interpreted language, what does this mean? So what is this interpreter language? So basically we will be having two kinds. Okay, so interpreter and compiler. Okay, so what is the responsibility of these guys are? So basically interpreter and compiler do the same task. Okay, their job is to like you will write the code. Okay, program, it will go to either compiler or interpreter. I will be telling in a high level, not in terms of only Python. Okay, it will go to either compiler or interpreter. After that you will get a output of your program. Okay, so here it checks errors. Okay, it checks errors. Okay, so the job of compiler and interpreter is same, but the functionality of compiler and interpreter are different. Like, okay, let's say so let's say, okay, you will be having 10 lines of code. Okay, you have written 10 lines of code, and you have some errors. Okay, in between, let's say second line has some error, sixth line has some error, and eighth line has some error. Okay, eighth line has some error. Now let's say like you have run like let's say C or C++. You have written code this particular 10 lines in either C or C++, and if you have compiled, what you will get? You will get all three errors. Will get all three errors in one go. That is called a compiler. Okay, so you will get whatever, like if you have 100 or 1000 errors, you will be getting all those errors in one go. Okay, same time. And if it's error free, you will get an output. Okay, you will get expected output. That's guaranteed. Now how this particular interpreter works now? Okay, let's say you have written the same code, like same 10 lines in Python. Okay, same 10 lines in Python. Now it starts compiling. It means start checking for error from the first line. Okay, so at first it will go to first line and checks, so it won't find any error, and then it will come to second line and it will find some errors here. So what it will do? So it will stop here itself. Okay, it won't go to next line like 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it doesn't care about how many number of lines you have to check. So it only cares about the line here. Okay, so it got some error. So first you need to resolve that before going to the next lines. Okay, so it will show you this error and you have to rectify that error, and again you have to execute your code. Okay, again it will do the same, and 3 will pass, 4 will pass, 5 will pass, and 6. So again it will stop at 6th line by saying that you have error. First, before going ahead, please rectify that particular error. Okay, so it will do that. Okay, it will do that, and then again you need to restart it, like re-execute it, and it will go, and again it will face. So it means that it will check line by line. Okay, if it has some error, you have to resolve that before going on to the next lines. That's the biggest difference between interpreter and compiler. And this is one of the frequently asked question, very important question in terms of interview. Okay, interview. So in interview, this question has been asked many times. Even I have been asked this question a lot times. Okay, please make sure that before going to interview, please have a look at this question. So that's all about a futures. Okay, that's all about a futures. Now let's look into few other things. I will be recalling, did I miss any futures or anything? Yeah, yes, extensive library. Extensive library. What does this mean? So basically we are saying that Python is very simple and easy to learn, like easy to develop applications and all. But how it is being so simple to do everything, right? So that is the question. So this is the reason. Okay, this is the reason why Python is so simple. So it has everything like pre-developed. Okay, it's like a ready-made product. Okay, so let's say we can say simply it means that we are ordering something from Zomato or Swiggy instead of cooking in our home. Okay, so cooking in our home takes a lot of effort. Okay, so you need to spend your 1 hour or 2 hours of time in kitchen. Yeah, okay. Now but if you order something from Zomato or Swiggy, it will take like you can just sit back and watch your show, watch your favorite show, and your order will get delivered. Okay, so it's very simple, right? So that is the like same principle applies in Python as well. Okay, you don't need to write anything from the scratch. Like if you want something, you just need to check whether that has been already there in Python or not. If there, just import that particular library, you will get that thing. Okay, your job is done. Okay, that is the kind of uh, flexibility available in Python. That is the reason it's so simple as well. So now let's move on to another thing. Okay, and yeah, so before going, there are few things that we need to clear. So flavors of Python. Flavors of Python. What does this mean? Flavors of Python. What does this mean? So basically, as I said, extensible and embedded. So you can easily use a Python code in any other programming language, and you can use like any other programming language in Python. So we do have a few things like C Python. So the Python, like whenever you are using Python for your C applications, then it will be called in C Python. Okay, just some flavors. Okay, so Jython or JPython. Okay, so it's a combination of Java plus Python. It's a combination of C plus Python, and you will be having same like Anaconda Python. Anaconda Python. So which is been for to handle like huge number of data, to process huge number of data. Okay, to process huge amount of data applications. We use Anaconda. It's an basically it's an software, or we can see it's an IDE as well. Okay, and you say Ruby Python, where you can combine a Ruby with Python. Okay, and Iron Python. Yeah, Iron Python. It's a Ruby plus Python, and it's an like C Sharp, comma .NET plus Python. Basically .NET, it's a framework, okay, which is being written in C Sharp. Okay, so if you like, if you wanted to use Python over there, then it's called as an Iron Python. Cool. Yes, give it a thumbs up if you have understood till now, and we will move ahead. Still we have 10 minutes of time. So now let's come to identifiers. Identifiers. What does this identifiers means? What does this identifiers means? So basically, identifier is a name. We can call any name in Python as an identifier. Like when I say name, any name, it might be class name. So you might be wondering what is a class. Yes, you will get to know. Please be stay tuned. And a function name. Okay, a function name or variable. Okay, variable. So these are all called as an identifiers. Okay, so simply you can say before, like it's a naming convention. Okay, instead of writing, let's say if you are storing 10 in somewhere, if you are storing some, like you want 10, okay, you have to use that 10 again and again and again. So you might be storing that 10 in your memory location somewhere in your memory, but how to represent that memory, how you can get that particular 10 if in like after 10 years or 20 years, you have to name that something, right? So there comes then variable. Okay, so you will be storing, like you will be giving some variable name to that 10, and then you will be storing that in your memory. Okay, so instead of searching for 10, you can simply search for a. Okay, and a class name, yeah, you will get to know while discussing about oops and functions as well. Okay, we will be having separate sessions for functions. You will get to know what is a function and how it's been working and all. You will get to know them in later part. Now, to create identifiers means to give names in Python. Like not in Python, it's very general topic. It's the same for any programming language. Okay, so you will be having some rules. What are their rules? So first thing would be alphabets. Like the name should be contain alphabets. So it might be uppercase or lowercase. Okay, it must contain alphabets. And second thing, it might contain digits as well. Digits 0 to 9. Okay, 0 to 9. And its special symbol called underscore. Okay, underscore, we will be calling it as an underscore. So your identifier should contain all of this or either of these. Okay, it must, like apart from this, it can't contain anything. So that is the rule. Okay, for identifiers, like before creating identifiers, please make sure that you are following its rules and regulations. Now like I will give you few examples. Okay, so where you can, like you will be representing this is identifier and this is not identifier. Okay, so let's say I will be creating like this Vamsi. So is this can be identifier? Is this can be identifier? Yes, it can be. So we are following all the rules here. Okay, it can be identifier. Now can I say A1 is an identifier? Yes, it's an identifier, right? It contains only one alphabet and then a number. It's an valid thing. And now let's say I have this A underscore B. Is this valid one? Yes, it's a valid one, right? And can I say A and B? So is this a valid? No, it's an invalid because it is having a special symbol called AND operator. Okay, and okay, so it's which is not in our rules. Okay, so it is invalid. And can I say A B like underscore AB? Yes, it is a valid one. It is a valid one. And I forgot to tell you another rule. Okay, so basically another rule was you can't name starting with digit. Okay, your identifier should not start with digit. Okay, So either it has to start with underscore or any alphabet. Okay, you can't start with digit. So means 1a is not valid, a1 is valid, or either a2 3 b is also valid. You are not starting with a number here. Okay, so these are all the rules for identifiers. Okay, and yeah, now the thing. Okay, so here now let's see reserved votes. Reserved votes or keywords. Reserved votes or keywords. Basically, reserved votes or keywords are also in names. Okay, are also in names, but the functionality. Okay, there will be given some predefined functionality for each and every of those names or identifiers. Okay, that's why they are calling as a reserved votes or keywords, which some few functionality has been dedicated for that particular um, name. Okay, so what, how can we know all these reserved votes and all? So it's too simple. Okay, so it's very like let's say you can go ahead you to your Python IDE and you can just simply type import import keyword. Okay, then you say print keyword dot key list. Okay, so if you do this code you will get to know all the reserved words which are available in Python. Okay, if you simply execute this code you will get all the reserved words. Okay, so here you can see all these reserved words were. So basically there were 32 reserved words available in Python. Okay, whose functionality has been predefined, means fixed. Okay, there will be given set of rules and regulations for that particular uh, things. Okay, so the like we can do something better. Okay, so let's say, okay, so let's stop that here. Okay, so we will do that later part. It will be overwhelmed for you guys if you don't know a prior coding experience. So yeah, so yep, yep, that's all about today's session. Okay, so just leave a thumbs up if you have liked this session, and if you have watched this session till now, please don't forget to subscribe this channel. And so please make sure that we will be starting every, like, we will be having session at the same time every day. Okay, we will be starting at 9 p.m and we will be studying Python till 10 p.m. But in weekends, okay, means Saturday and Sunday, we will be starting from 8 p.m. Okay, it will be a 2 hour of class where we will be solving some algorithms or some basic programmings. Okay, using Python only. Okay, so on the same channel. So please stay tuned for more content.